Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel and blog. Today is day one of the Rabbit Hole Designs release, and this is what they are releasing today. This is called Beautiful Disaster, and is she not gorgeous? She's just such a beautiful detailed stamp, and she has some very lovely sentiments to go along with her, and we're going to use her in a little bit of a non-traditional way. So if you're intimidated by an image like that, don't be. We're going to do some ink smushing, and we're going to use these Aqua pigments by Brutus Monroe. And so I've got out my waffle flower media mat along with some ARTEZA expert watercolor paper and a little piece of acetate. I'm going to take a drop of that first color of the Aqua pigment, which is the color red violet. I'm going to spritz it with water and pick it up with my piece of acetate, and I'm going to kind of keep it more to that lower left hand level or corner of the paper. And the reason I'm using acetate is because it will definitely give you a lot more control. This second color is just yellow, and so I'm going to manipulate the paper along with the acetate and kind of get that where I want it to be. It makes it look organic, and it is to a point, but it's also a lot more controlled than if you were to just pick up your paper and squish it down onto the paint right there. That next color is turquoise, and so I'm going to put that right up above. Obviously we're going for a little bit of, well, not necessarily a rainbow, but if those colors were to mix, they will give you a little bit of a rainbow color. So you can see where the turquoise and the yellow mixed, it's giving a little bit of a green, and where the yellow and the red violet have mixed, it's giving a little bit of an orange. And so I'm going to heat this because I want to do a little bit more to it. I'll take a paintbrush and I'm just going to splatter now. I'm going to splatter that turquoise on top of the turquoise, trying to keep these centralized. The yellow over the yellow, and then the red violet over the red violet, and then we'll heat set that again. And I'm really, really happy with how this little background has turned out. Ink smushing is just one of my favorite things to do, and those aqua pigments are like watercolor in a jar, so it's just fabulous. I'm going to trim down my paper a little bit because I do want to have a little bit of a border when I put this onto my page, but before I do that, I'm going to stamp out the girl. And again, she's the Beautiful Disaster, and she's so pretty. And you need to go check out what the rest of the design team has done, because they have some absolutely gorgeous coloring done with her. I was a little intimidated, and so this is why I chose to do it this way. As soon as I saw her, I knew I wanted to have a background like this. So I'm inking her up with some VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink, and I'm going to do that a couple times to make sure that I have a good crisp image, because this is on the textured side of the watercolor paper. My card base is going to be some lunch bag cardstock by Brutus Monroe. So I've cut that down to 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. Then I'm going to score it at 4.25, so it'll be a side folding A2 size card. And that's where the score buddy comes in real handy. I'm going to pull out my bigger Misty. I should have done that from the get-go, but I want to have her sort of in the center of the card on the inside. So I'll pick her up with the door of the Misty, and I'm going to ink her up once again with the VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. I have said before, I'm just really enjoying doing the insides of my cards, and it's like this extra little bonus. You've done the outside, and then the recipient opens it up, and you've done a little something extra, so it's just something fun. And so I've stamped her a couple times, and then I'm also going to grab a sentiment, and I'm going to line that up, pardon my head, close the door of the Misty, and we'll ink that up again with that VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. So I love how it says you are allowed to be both a masterpiece and a work in progress simultaneously. So I think that's fun. I've pulled out some pink cardstock that I have. This is some rouge cardstock, and I'll stamp the sentiment Beautiful Disaster right in the center towards the bottom. And then I'll pull out my Tonic Studios Tim Holtz guillotine trimmer. My goodness, forgetting the name of things. And I'm just going to trim that down. I love my wire trimmer, but it's been giving me issues lately with having to constantly replace blades, so not as in love with it as I used to be. So this guillotine trimmer may not be as precise, but it does work really well. I'm going to use some foam tape on the back of my piece, and then I'm going to peel back the release paper, and then she'll be ready to put on the front of my card base, and I'm going to put her all the way to the left, so that'll leave that little border of lunch bag cardstock on the right hand side. Now the panel ended up being a little bit bigger, so once again I'll grab out that Tim Holtz guillotine trimmer, and this is another reason why it's so great, because it'll just slice off the excess, which is fantastic, because if I tried to cut that, I sometimes have a problem cutting straight, even though I am cutting along the base of something. I'm going to use a little bit of foam tape that I'll put right onto the card base itself rather than trying to guess as to where I'm going to put it on my sentiment because I didn't trim that down yet. I'll use a little bit of liquid glue on the rest of it. I've peeled off that release paper already, and then we'll just stick this down, and then we'll flip it over and we'll trim off the excess. But I'm not done there. I do have to add an embellishment or two, right? So I'm going to grab out the Nuvo White Blizzard glitter drops, and I'm just going to be pretty generous with where I put those down. And I don't know, actually after it dried, I didn't notice that it had picked up that color. Now if that had been Distress Oxide ink, it definitely would have picked up the color, or even Distress inks, it might have picked up the color a bit. But these Blizzard drops stayed pretty clear, and they're opaque now, but they will definitely be clear. But that's going to finish off our card. So as I said, I am over on my blog as well. This is a part of a blog hop. This is a new release for the rabbit hole design. So I'm going to have my blog listed down below so you can head on over there and check out what everybody else has been doing. And if you liked this video, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, I will see you very soon in the next video. Bye.